Welcome back. Fort Wayne Mayor Sharon Tucker and I sat down for a year-end interview this afternoon. We talked development, redevelopment, crime, and much more. Take a look. Just driving in here to downtown, one thing you notice is the development coming to downtown. Some of it already starting to pop up and open, some of it still in construction. What I've observed with development downtown is many times people that live in the area have some negative reactions about it, which is rent is too high, construction, traffic, parking, unaffordable. What is it that some of the residents here are missing when it comes to new downtown?
You know, any time that you see a city growing, let's not even talk about city. Anytime there's growth of any kind, there are going to be moments of inconvenience. There are going to be questions. There are going to be those who may not believe in the full vision of what's happening until they get to the end, and all the results are there. You see it whether you're remodeling your home, whether you are moving to a new job, whether you're moving to a location. The newness and the uncertainty of all of the questions that are present always cause people to grow a concern, and cities are no different. When you are developing, of course, there's going to be the inconvenience of skyscrapers being up, roads being closed, traffic being diverted into different directions, because in order for economic development to take place, we do have to cut off and close off some accesses that people would be accustomed to. So those things are normal anytime you have development. The things that sometimes cause you to pause and listen to the community and question is when individuals indicate the pricing of a project or the end users of a project. Those things I take under serious consideration because I come from a blue-collar family. I've worked 2 jobs my whole life, so I understand pressures that are put on people when trying to determine whether or not a development is necessary. But what I can tell the public and would want the public to rest assured is that when tax dollars are going into projects, we are very thorough. We think very strongly and very wise with how we're handling the tax dollars that have been entrusted to us. But most of the projects that we see right now have been private and public partnerships. So while we may be putting in the infrastructure and maybe even helping build a parking garage, the developer is the one that determines the cost of a going apartment or the cost of the retail that would be going inside of that. And really that's free market as it stands. So I get it for some people when they're concerned about it, but the exchange always works out at the end. The one that I think about often where people were like, oh, why are we doing this? Why do we need it? No, no, no. This is the ball diamond. And we look at what Tin Cap Stadium has done for the city of Fort Wayne and how it sparked economic development. Family friend, how it sparked activities downtown. I mean, just the lighting, going into the light festival that they're having inside of there. Every dollar that we spent in that investment, and unfortunately, every naysayer that was a part of that investment was all part of it being a success. And so when we think about development, we think about all of those things. Where will this put the city at the end of the development?
The 1-2 punch of the Tin Caps holiday attraction and the Festival of Trees at the Embassy has been a boon for downtown, and I know some of the businesses have seen that. That's been nice. You talked about the naysayers. One area the naysayers still talk about when we talk about development downtown is electric works. Now, I can only give my opinion, and when I have family that comes in from out of town, or my sister's coming from Chicago, maybe the first place I take them is Electric Works, because I think it's an impressive facility. I love the variety of options. There have been concerns about some of the tenants leaving, about some of the tenants complaining about the lack of foot traffic, about some of the high cost of rent. The city's done a lot with that project. What can the city continue to do to support Electric Works? And can Electric Works survive? You
know, I think Electric Works can survive. It's a huge investment. We saw something there from the developers in their plan. We believed and supported the plan as it is now, and we have beautiful buildings that have been restored that would have probably still been in the same condition but for the developers of Electric Works. And what their future looks like really is going to be dependent upon those developers and investors in that project. The city absolutely wants to see it stay alive because we've been such a large supporter of the project, but it's really going to come up to their model, maybe rethinking their model, maybe finding retail that will be able to come in with a new model to be able to help sustain the program. In terms of additional tax dollars going into the project, I'm not sure that that's a position that the city has right now or will be able to take. I do know that we have not been asked for any additional support, and I'm thankful that I believe the developers of Electric Works will figure it out and be able to sustain without receiving any additional tax support.
Let's switch a little bit to crime. Last year in 2023, as far as homicides and murders in Fort Wayne, there were 30. In 2024 so far, there have been 34. So it's been an increase of 4. We've also seen an increase this year. It was around 15% increase in police-involved shootings, where the situation happened where a police officer fired their gun and shot a person. What can be done in 2025 to improve those numbers and have those numbers decrease, Mayor?
So, every time an officer has to unholster his gun or her gun and make the split-second decision as to whether or not to pull the trigger, is an indication that there is some immediate danger present, or the threat of an immediate danger. And so those situations are serious, they are expedient, and they are always a heavy burden for the persons involved and the city to bear. The one thing that I do believe would be able to help reduce all of those is open dialogue with the public and with police officers, and just for the public to understand the guidelines and the training of which police officers are trained to. I believe sometimes that people have a misunderstanding of the responsibilities of the training and how officers are trained. And I think sometimes if we open up dialogue and we start having broad communication amongst each other, then we would absolutely see a decrease in response and response and challenges from both ends.